Hi, welcome back to the Dylan Rounds case and welcome to the chat if you're currently here. Just a small video, but an important one, okay. I wanted to do this as a standalone because I don't want it to get lost in the sea of thoughts if it was done as an overall clip from the East Idaho News Channel, the recent latest interview with Candice Cooley and Justin Rounds, okay? What this video is going to look at is the key fob and the timeline, but an important event of when it occurred, and it could reveal and highlight a potential suspect, okay? I'm going to play the news report clip to you right now, and then I'll analyze it.
So moving forward, so now that Box Elder released it on NamUs, we all know, yes, the key fob did come back.
So let's talk about that. There was a key fob that originally was not in Dylan's truck when you guys searched it.
Yes.
Correct. It wasn't anywhere. We couldn't get it in his pickup.
This was the key fob to his truck to get
Correct.
it started. So then it appeared.
Right, in his camp trailer.
How, do you know the time frame?
When we were in Montello at the supposed Dylan's kidnapping.
So this is information that the family, you all have known since the beginning.
Correct.
Yes.
But law enforcement have asked you to hold it back.
Yes.
And
So, as you heard, Candice said that beforehand the key fob was not around. It was completely missing. From our point of view, we assumed the key fob was probably on Dylan when he went missing, or the suspect took it off Dylan in the process. But, as what was said in that news report and NamUs, the key fob was returned back to Dylan's trailer by an unknown person. That's the big question, and the event of when it happened. That event, which you heard in that news report, is to do with sometime in June on a Tuesday when the parents received a call from Kurt, from what everyone has said over time, about Dylan being held hostage in a house in Montello by Chase Venstra. Kurt made the phone call. Whether it be directly to the parents, as what was said, or the police beforehand, that's how it happened. That's how it occurred. It turned out to be a false lead. Dylan wasn't there. But it was strange why Kurt would phone up the police or phone up the parents as well and inform them about a tip-off. Why would Kurt do that? With this recent news report, I can kind of tie it all together, okay? Now, I don't know if you want me to do the map analysis whilst I'm talking, or you prefer my face as I'm speaking to you so it's very clear, okay? I'll talk to you first. My opinion of this, you had the parents, you had the police presence at the grain shed at Dylan's trailer. You couldn't get on that land. You know, if there's people there, you don't have access to it, you'll get caught and spotted. Someone like Kurt, who lives in Montello, who made the phone call to eventually lure the parents into Montello with the police, Box Elder County eventually, so that the farm, Dylan's place of living, there's no one there. No one there now because the focus has shifted to Montello. So in that time frame, could Kurt or somebody else drove to Dylan's farm to place the key back there, the key fob in the trailer? I mean, Kurt has probably been there before, been in his trailer, so he knows where to go, where to put it. What do you think, chat? It just all seems to tie in close together, doesn't it? Let me just show you a quick map analysis just to tell that story, okay, so you get a visual idea. Whilst Kurt was in Montello, down here, whether it be in the bar or just the surrounding area. Something caused Kurt to make that phone call saying that Dylan Rounds was present and held hostage within one of these buildings by Chase Venstra. There is one side motive from what was previously said, that Kurt didn't like Chase. He had it in for him. So maybe it was a form of revenge to teach him a lesson or something like that. But he made the call, which then alerted the parents, Dylan Round's parents, as well as the police eventually. More of that will be explained in tomorrow's video, okay? So whilst you've got a police presence investigating at the time the grain shed, as well as finding the boots, just looking around in general, as well as the grain truck as well, eventually investigating Dylan's farm down here, looking at his trailer, looking at the pond, which is right there. As I said, more of that will be explained in part 2. They get the call. They're eventually alerted. They eventually decide to act on it, whilst the parents and the police both move and shift their focus into Montello, cross the border, coming down that highway, and basically searching the area to try and find where Dylan is. In the meantime, Kurt, or an associate, whoever, a part of the militia, get on that road, whether it be an off-road one, a dirt road, or just a main highway such as this, driving down, maybe speeding. There's no suspicion at this time around Kurt. He's just simply going out for the day. It'd be interesting to know if anyone else knew what Kurt was up to at the time, whether they heard a plan. So whilst constantly going this way, of course there may be alternative ways to get there, but eventually, coming off one of these roads possibly, let's say this one, eventually going around the winding pathways, coming over the crossing where the train line is, kind of a similar route to salty pancakes in my last video I did, I believe. Turning here, turning left here, past the wash, and eventually turning right to the grain shed. If not that, going an alternative way to eventually get to the farm over there. One way or another, someone got there, okay? Parked up maybe, went in the trailer, placed the key fob, got in the car and drove away. The end. But it's just that idea that the only time action took place when a piece of evidence linked, associated with Dylan, was returned was when nobody was there to witness it. And who was the main person responsible for taking that audience, that crowd away from that area? Kurt. Bit coincidental, right? And also, considering in recent time, a few people in my last live video premiere to do with salty pancakes going to Dylan's grain shed, that he was escorted there by Kurt Wadsworth, if I'm correct in saying, correct me if I'm wrong. But if Kurt's there, then most likely he was there at Dylan's farm back then. If he was able to get on the land in recent time, then there's a chance he was able to get on the land back then, especially when the police were, driven away from that area. So that's just kind of weird, to be honest. This is just my opinion, my observation and theory, okay? It might differ to yours. There may be updates, there may be debunkings, who knows, to do with Kurt. But I've not seen or heard any. So if it can be cleared up in some way or another, indirectly, directly, then that's something. But from the way it stands, the key fob itself, just weird. And yeah, the way it was worded a bit later on in that interview was Candice had to keep quiet, so did the father, because it's just standard procedures. But mistakes were made on the website by the, Ellie. It was reversed in the end, but still kind of damaging. But as I said, you can leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. Do you agree that Kurt could be responsible for the key fob? And why do you think it's worded as an unknown individual has returned it? Do they mean that the police don't know themselves? Or are they just, using default John Doe language, in a sense, because they know the person but they can't reveal it yet? Just like how they referred to Don H in that FBI interview about the guns and Jim Brenner handing them onto that friend who we eventually knew as Don Hatley or Don Hately. Okay? So there might be a procedure, but it will be interesting to know if we ever do find out who placed the key fob there and why. That's the question. Why did they return it? Is it because they don't want any evidence, anything tracing back to them, so they decide to put it back? Were they wearing gloves at the time to avoid fingerprint marks? That's another question. Or is it simply a stranger that just stumbled upon them and decided to put them back in the trailer? Then again, if it's a stranger, why can't they just simply report it to the police or call the family up? It's more suspicious a person, just in general, retrieving evidence, putting it back in place without telling anyone. That makes you more dodgy. If you don't want to appear as the suspect, then you would obviously be vocal. You'd tell everyone this and that. You'd be less likely to be the dodgy one. Simple. It's logical, that, isn't it? The next big question, what you've got to ask yourself is, where was that key fob found? Was it on Dylan, near to where Dylan could have been taken? Or was that key fob in the hands, the residence of the suspect, maybe in Montello? Hence why Kurt may have left the place to return back to the farm in Lucin. Who knows? Quite a few key questions. As said, it might be a short video this, but it's a critical one. I don't want it to get forgotten. Whether it be new leads or just debunked this video, I want it to stand out. It needs to stand out just in case, because like with previous clips, previous videos, there might have been the odd few key questions or mentions, but they were forgotten about because they were a part of a bigger video. And that's what can lead to confusion and people forgetting stuff and then confusion. So hopefully people understand this video, the aim of it, the theory, and maybe if it can be debunked or added to and reinforced. Let me know your thoughts down below. Thanks for watching. That's it for now. Tomorrow or the day after, I will be uploading part 2 as an overall analysis and breakdown of all the other loose points within that recent Candice Justin Rounds interview by the East Idaho News Channel. Okay, we'll get more into that later. For now, thanks for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.